Yep, yep. And of course, her last movie is going to be Dune Part 3, and she's going to be in that.
Yeah, she's very good in Dune too. That was a very good casting move for her.
Yeah, really
She
good.
she performs a very accurate portrayal of whatever her name is, Paul's love interest. You know,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
forget her name. I forget her name right now. It's been a long time since I thought about Dune.
uh, Shanti, or Shan,
Yeah, yeah.
the Paul's lover.
Of course, everything will be totally different in the next film because there's going to be a big time jump, and it's going to be he's going to be married to Princess Avalon or whatever. You know.
Yeah, Florence Pugh character. Yeah.
So there's going to be like a whole deal where he's going to have to be with the princess at times. Then at other times he's going to be have to be with Zendaya.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
she's probably not going to be very happy about it.
No, I seen the trailer. I think she's against Paul in his crusade.
Well,
During the
I mean, it would make sense that a Fremen woman would not be the type of woman that would accept a role as a mistress. You know what I mean, or a second wife.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh my god, very excited to see that trailer review.
But in that Dune universe or whatever, stuff like that is actually normal.
Okay.
For a ruler or a king to have like a fake wife, like an established relationship or marriage or whatever, but then also have your real wife.
Yeah, no, that's true. We see that in the TV show, I think, right? Like Dune Prophecy kind of did that a little bit, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, arranged marriages are a thing, during the Dune universe, because they have that like weird throwback universe where they use a lot of like older traditions, cultural stuff,
Yeah.
It's very like Roman times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With like dukes and earls and
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Well, speaking of Dune, you want to see the Dune Part 3? Let's do that. I got nothing else.
I thought you said you had the Doomsday trailer.
No, Dune Part 3.
Oh, Dune. Okay.
Yeah, I got the Dune Part 3 teaser trailer because that one came first before Spider-Man. That came out on the 18th.
Yeah, I know. I heard the day that it came out. I saw the announcements.
Yeah, so let me get rid of this and add Dune Part 3 because you will like it. It's really exciting.
Oh, I like Dune.
Yeah, and so to kind of give the background, yeah, this movie is going to adapt.
I know. I read on that guy Quinn's Ideas YouTube channel. I watched his whole 2-hour breakdown of that book and what happens.
Yeah, because this one is adapting the Doom Masana book.
Yeah, there's gonna be a big time jump, right? Timothy Chalamet is gonna be a lot older now.
Yeah, kind of curious what your thought about that because we see it briefly, but here, let's do it.
Yeah, they're not gonna have it. They're not gonna have it actually flow right after the last film.
Yeah.
If we have a girl, what will we name her?
Her name should be Ganima. So you need to be strong.
You don't really know anything about his kids, man.
Oh no, I know. How many kids he gets?
They're fucked up, man. His kids end up fucked up.
Of course.
So he would have the wisdom of his grandfather.
War feeds on itself. The more I fight, the more our enemies fight back. I'm doing the best I can to protect my family. How did Father do it?
Your father never started a war.
Die Male
must not die. Yet.
That's right. They're gonna for the first time now. We're actually gonna see a Gola. We're gonna see Jason Momoa's character come back from the dead.
Yeah, that's the big one. It was cool to see Jason Momoa character come back. Well,
You don't know about all that shit, like how that works and everything. I do, There's this bizarre culture and planet that even though it's illegal to make thinking machines and all that kind of stuff, they don't care. They make black market technology. You know what I mean? Like they break the rules, and they create what's called Golas, which are copies of dead people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard briefly
regenerated in like tanks, from birth. You know what I mean? As like, copies of dead people, all they need is like some genetic material from the person, the dead person, and then they can clone a new person.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I think,
and sometimes the goal is even get their memories back and they can remember who they used to be.
I think that's the case of the Jason Momoa character being pulled into that like group you're talking about that gonna like double clone him into the new one.
Paul's son later on, the one that becomes the emperor for like 1,200 years or whatever, like extends his life, or whatever, and it becomes a worm. He mixes up with the worms. You know what I mean? It becomes the worm god or whatever, and he rules for like 1,200 years. He has to have that character around him. Like he's so fascinated in having him around him that he keeps recreating him as a Gola over and over and over again, no matter what. And eventually the guy like gets tired of it, and he's like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you keep bringing me back?
That is so interesting. But yeah, he's coming back, which is cool. He was great in the part one, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the Golas don't like being a Gola. You know what I mean? They get their memories back at some point, and they're like, at some point in their life, there's some sort of like ceremony that can be performed or something like that, or there's something that can be done that that at some point in the life can help bring back the memories of their old life.
Okay.
So at some point they then become who they used to be.
Okay.
And sometimes that can be a problem.
Wow. Yeah, I'm very curious if he will follow through the mission stopping Paul.
Sometimes they even actually want to kill the ruler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They get programmed by the Telaxu, that race, to kill or whatever,
Yeah.
Why did you already hear about that?
Yeah, I heard a little bit of that. Like, I like you explaining a bit more because I knew about this group. You brought up the name of the group.
I can't remember if it's in this book that they programmed the Gola to kill Paul, or if it's the next book.
The next book, yeah. Well, that's another thing about this movie. They are adapting the third book, Masada, but they're loosely adapting it because there are a couple of changes that I think they're going to do for this to be like the conclusion of this like Paul story.
Well, they have to make changes because Messiah is a massive book. It's like Dune is huge. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit happens.
Yeah. And so I'm very curious if the children. You brought up the kids of Paul because I know they're born later on in the books.
There may not even be enough time for them to even grow up enough to even be like any. You know what I'm saying? They're if anything, they're probably going to be babies.
Yeah, they're listed in the cast. But we'll probably see the twins in the movie, but. I think
I believe it's in the next book that they actually become like teenagers and adults and actually start to have a role. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or it could be later on in Messiah, but it's just way later on, and there's not going to be enough room in the movie to make that happen. You know what I mean? because you'd have to have some kind of massive time jump to all of a sudden have them be babies
Yeah.
and then make them teenagers, you know?
Yeah.
And in that trailer, I don't see a time jump like that.
No, I don't know if he.
The only time jump I see is that basically they're not going to pick up right after the last movie. They're actually going to pick up where Paul is established as the emperor. You know what I'm saying? And now he's on his crusade to go out and convert all the other planets and cultures into his culture.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
The Fremen belief system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the German belief. Yeah. Yeah, that now I remember.
That's why you see all those battles. That's them conquering other planets.
Yes. Yeah. That is very true.
He's on his crusade, man. It's actually kind of an evil thing, to be honest with you. Like in the book, it's considered like it's an evil fucking crusade. Like back in the day to go out and like crush and kill other planets and societies to convert them into a religion.
Yeah, that's true.
Like either convert or die.
Yeah, convert or die. Yeah, that is very true.
And Paul's all about it. He's like, I'm okay. Let's do it.
Yeah. So yeah, like we're getting Florence Pugh character back, the wife. She's gonna be behind the scene to like take down Paul's empire, right? Because she doesn't like him either.
No, I can't remember exactly, but yes, she does at some point. She's unhappy with the situation because again, the other wife, she's jealous because she knows that Shanti is actually his real love, and that Paul does not love her. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So she becomes unhappy in her marriage. So yes, she does plot against him eventually.
Yeah, so we see that here.
She's a part of an assassination attempt against him.
Yeah, and this includes Robert Pattinson's character here, called the.
That's Robert Pattinson. Holy shit!
Yeah, so he's in the movie. He's gonna be playing Skytel, the face dancer who execute the plot to dethrone.
Yeah, that's the Twilackies or whatever. They create the face dancers.
Okay, yeah, because I know I read briefly about this version.
They're all into that genetics and cloning and that's their shit. You know what I mean? Creating faceless people and you know what I'm saying?
Right, and because he's going to be the main person that wants to take down Paul in the story, right?
They're very weird characters, they're women that can become men. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're shapeshifters, right? Because he can shift into a different person.
Yeah, and there's a lot of times they're spies. You know what I mean? They're very good at assassination.
Yeah. So
they do espionage and shit like that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So you could the Twilacki or whatever are very dirty business. So they can very well give a face dancer as a present to Paul. You know what I mean? Ooh. You know what I'm saying? As a gift. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's how he's gonna get what's his name back as a gift from them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. So this is Judge's Moa's
he's not gonna buy him or anything like that or whatever. The Twilacki are just gonna show up one day with him and say, "Here you go. Here's your gift."
Yeah. So this is kind of like the gift for Paul, the new incarnation.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a shocking surprise. You know what I'm saying? Paul's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hold on. I want because a new character we're getting. We've got introduced quickly.
And it's very controversial. Again, all the Gulas and everything, all that stuff is very controversial because again, this race, the Twilacki, whatever, mm-hmm. they break the rules.
They break
all the time. They're known for that. They're not afraid to make thinking machines and and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I just want to point out here, this is Paul's sister, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I forgot the name.
She is a murderous, violent bitch.
Ali?
Yeah,
yeah. Of course, she's gonna. We saw her
she's
briefly. And
she's insane. She's completely insane, and eventually becomes so insane that she jumps out of a window and kills herself.
oh my god, really?
She has something really wrong with her, having to do
Okay.
with the fact that she was born right after the mother drank the water of life and went through the ceremony. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes, from
So
part two.
so she was born with those she was born with those powers. Of the ceremony, you know what I mean? The water of life or whatever. She was born with it right from jump. So as a child, as a baby, she's already having the ability to remember her the memories of her ancestors and stuff like that, and like talk to them and all that,
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if you understand that that's how it works, but that's how that power works. You know what I mean?
Right.
It gives the person the ability to be able to actually speak to their
The
dead
dead.
ancestors.
Well, which that makes a lot of sense because we saw that in the Dune Policy show. Because one of the sisters, like can communicate the old sisterhood that got murdered a long time ago, and like
Yeah.
speaking here in the dead. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, the Bene Gesserits are the only people that actually go through that process and have that ability. They're the only ones. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And
Every man before Paul that had ever tried died during the ceremony. They died.
oh, okay.
Only women
Only women could do
could
that.
do it until Paul.
Yeah, until
Because
Paul.
Paul's the Messiah. You know.
Yeah.
But no, it's a lot to deal with to be able to have that power, that ability to have all those memories in your head, and all these dead people in your head. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is the sister starts to talk to Harkonnen, the bad guy from the first movie.
The first movie. Okay.
And it turns out that Harkonnen actually raped Paul's mother's mother, and that's how she was born through incest. So
Wow.
so they actually Paul and his sister actually have Harkonnen blood. You know what I mean?
Oh wow.
So what happens is she starts talking into fucking Harkonnen, and he starts corrupting her mind.
Oh, that is insane. Yeah, they don't list what's it, Skarsgård as the Harkonnen, but that'd be a good twist.
He starts twisting her mind and putting all these crazy ideas into her head that people are out to get her, and you know what I'm saying, and all this shit,
Right. So you brought you say that the story is going to time jump. I heard the change of the time jump is going to be 17 years because they want to make the
really.
Yes.
That seems like a lot.
17 years, yeah, because you say it was 20 years, right? The original time jump.
No, I never said anything about the I don't know anything about a time jump until now.
Yeah, well, remember the birth of the sister because Paul,
If there is a time jump in the books, I don't remember how big it is.
Okay, yeah, I just want to let you know that's I guess it's after maybe the part where.
But wait a minute, if there's a 17-year time jump, then the kids would have already been born, and they'd be like actual young kids. You know what I mean? They wouldn't. Zendaya wouldn't be pregnant. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think they're carving that story in this movie. I think they're mainly focused on. I think the first part of the Messiah where we're focused on Paul, not the kids. I don't think we're really focusing.
That's what I'm saying. If you had a 17-year time jump between the films, at that point, Zendaya would have already become pregnant and already had her children during that time. That would have already happened.
Yeah, no. I think
it's not long after the events of the last Dune film in the books that they go ahead and start having children.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they don't wait a long time. I mean, just like in real life, it's always the best idea to try to get your wife pregnant when she's young and fertile. You know what I'm saying? You don't wait until she's 35 or 40 to have kids.
No, that's true. Yeah, so
So
Yeah.
yeah, I just don't see. I don't know how that time jump would work. You know what I mean?
I'm
It would have to happen in the movie, not before the
Yeah.
movie.
No. It's in the movie.
If there's a time jump between films, it would be a short one.
Yeah, no. The time travel is not gonna happen in the beginning of the movie. It's gonna happen in the movie.
Like
For mainly,
like they're not going to show the actual after effects of what happens at the end of the last Doom film, where you actually have the part where Paul actually has to fight against the Spacing Guild, because the Spacing Guild is against him as the Emperor. You know what I'm saying?
right?
They don't endorse him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So there's actually kind of a little bit of a problem with him actually becoming Emperor for a while.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
There's a whole process of him actually becoming emperor. You know what I mean? It's not just a simple thing.
That's the thing. Right. Wow.
Yeah, just because he killed the guy doesn't mean that automatically everyone's just gonna be like, okay, go, you're the emperor now.
No, it's gonna be more challenging. Yeah, that makes sense.
The emperors don't usually. The new emperor doesn't usually come from murdering the last one. Usually in their world. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Usually the emperor dies, and then they pick a new emperor.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, this one is different. Yeah.
Yes, it's very new to them. You know what I'm saying? For someone to just take the emperorship. You know what I'm saying? That's different.
That's different. Yeah.
So of course some people in the galaxy are not happy about that.
No, that makes sense, and it makes sense for them.
They don't like how Paul became emperor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then later on, the way he's starting the war is like even worse.
And,
Yeah.
and plus, based on their traditions, the natural way of becoming the emperor, there's other people that they would have liked to have been emperor, not him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he wasn't actually selected.
No, he pretty much like throw himself into be the emperor. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And plus, on top of that, he has this massive army of fucking of Fremen that are that are on a mission to cleanse the goddamn galaxy at the same time.
Yeah.
Some people are kind of not so happy about that.
No, makes sense.
They don't want their planet and their culture to become destroyed.
No, and being extinct. Yeah.
Yeah. And Paul starts to struggle with it too. Of course, he starts to struggle, with the killing and all that. You know what I mean? He knows it's not right.
No, he knows, but at the same time, the power is like very overwhelming for him.
Well, the army's all about it. You know what I'm saying? They're all about it. You know what I'm saying? They have no problem with it. And that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because that's this massive army. Paul can't just say no to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's their leader. You know what I'm saying? They believe in him. You know what I'm saying? For him to reject their beliefs would be wrong.
No. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I'm very curious how they're gonna end this trilogy, because I love these movies, and I think they've been the best movies so far of the post-pandemic.
There's definitely probably going to end up being a sort of a love and hate feeling for the first time for Paul as a character. I can tell you that right now. Once you start watching them actually going into planets and fucking killing people and converting them and all that shit,
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really bad for Paul. Yeah, because he's not the hero. Because he's more like a villain.
He's an anti-hero. He's not a hero.
Yeah. He's an anti-hero. That's a good point.
He's a flawed emperor.
Yeah, and the young one too.
Who's very much struggling with what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Is not very confident. About what's going on.
Yeah.
While at the same time, also being very vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Because again, there's a lot of motherfuckers out there that don't want him to be the emperor.
Yeah. I'm very curious how they're gonna take down Paul.
So he's got enemies. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I mean he said that in the trailer. He's every enemy is coming after him. So it's happening.
Yes,
Even his wife is going to
yes,
be damaging.
he's
Yeah,
he's very vulnerable. I mean, all rulers are. You know what I'm saying in this world. You know what I mean? All of them are potentially, can be assassinated. You know what I'm saying, or whatever.
yeah. All right, sir. I think we need to call it a wrap. I had to
Yeah,
head to
you got to
bed.
get some sleep, sir. I know.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, sir. It was a pleasure. Very happy we did the trailer reactions.
Yeah, those are some great trailer reactions, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad I was able to actually give you some reactions.
yeah, and I mean these were the best trailers so far this year, and I'm very excited for doing part three. I knew a little bit of what you were talking about because I took some time to like watch a
Yeah,
YouTube video.
we don't really have that many big other a ton of other really big trailers coming out the rest of this year, do we?
Yeah, a couple. Well, we'll see. It depends on when the studios release them, but yeah, we'll see. I'll keep a watch on the trailers, but yeah, yeah. So just kind of plug out the MC Bleeding Edge stuff we're gonna have this week. So Wednesday we're gonna have our first review on Daredevil Born Again season 2, episode 1. I mean,
Thank God it's just episode 1 and not 2 of them.
yes, as like we did last year with the first season. Yeah,
I do not love doing those double episode reviews. I'm okay with them, but I do not love doing them.
yeah. I can see why. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, but I can see why it doesn't work with the formula. But
It just takes a long time.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, so we got that. Now, Friday, I'm not gonna be with the fellas for the Monarch season 2, episode 5 review. So it's gonna be Jeff and Cyber, and hopefully a guest he can get to like take my place. Hopefully, if not,
We'll see, sir. Not many creators that actually watch Monarch or cover Monarch. Honestly, there's very few.
really,
Only a couple of people we know actually covered this show. Like
cover the show.
Justin over at Geek Royalty or whatever the fuck they do it.
Yeah, and Emron from the Jock and Nerds do
Yeah,
it too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that
They
makes
do,
sense.
Imran, they do all of them. They cover every TV. They cover like every fucking TV show that comes out there, bro.
Oh yeah, no, I see their YouTube page.
It's still mind blowing to me though to think about the fact that fucking every time Imran records, he records with a goddamn puppet.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my god, I never knew that.
That has got to be goddamn bizarre.
Hey, but it's making, I mean, attention, right, for their channel.
I wonder if they record like him and his co-host record first, and then they bring in the puppet stuff after, or if they do it all together.
It has to be like before, right?
No, not before. It would have to be. Well, yeah,
After.
no, you could be before. You could have everything already ready to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But then you'd have to deal with the timing of it. You know what I'm saying? You'd have to have the perfect time drop the audio.
yeah, that's my thing. It's like it's long prep to do that kind of puppeteering. Thing,
I mean, when I saw reels where it showed the puppet, I didn't see the puppet with all the other guys. I just saw the puppet.
Oh,
which makes me believe that they don't actually record with the puppet.
no, it has to be like pre-recorded, then downloaded it, right? Like something like that. I don't know.
It's still bizarre to imagine Imran doing a show like that.
Yeah, but they do it. I mean, that's funny.
I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I watched a short with the puppet talking and everything, and it did, nothing about it seemed all that fucking great to me. I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, people like it. I mean, it's very unusual, but it's something you don't rarely see.
It was just a fucking puppet talking about a movie. You know what I'm saying? And giving his opinion. There was no jokes, nothing.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny. He's just like another addition to the review.
Review. Oh my god.
So I don't know if they make him funny at times. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I need to see more of the shows. I think he is funny sometimes, but I mean they don't go too far with the comedy, so I think, but we'll see.
All I know is they cover a lot of shit.
Yeah, they do. They cover a lot of content, both movies and TV. So pretty good. All right. Have a good night,
All right,
guys.
brother.
Yeah, have a good night. Right? Ciao.
Peace.